Hello, YouTube, and welcome to this May 17th update of the movie project. What's happened since the last time I made one of these? Well, what hasn't happened is, as I recall, I have not heard back again from the person who had read the script, the acting teacher. She had a couple of names of prospective actresses to play Susie, and I had not heard back. It's been a couple weeks, which I mean nothing, no shade cast against her, as it were, because A, she's super busy, and B, I'm sure she has better things to do than this. Having said that, I told my sons that we talked to them and about a few different things. One of which was contacting the actress, or I guess choosing which of the two they thought. And for logistical reasons, one of them has a young child, and so the idea of coming to the Midwest and being here for a couple weeks is probably untenable. So they I'm going to leave that as a TBA until I tell you the other part of the news, which is the person that I'm hoping is going to shoot the film. I have not heard from in a couple of weeks after sending him the script. Again, he's busy, he's got priorities, et cetera, et cetera. But I did talk with a gentleman that owns a small production company in the area just about the equipment, the camera he uses, the lights, et cetera. I borrowed a microphone from him when I shot my last movie many, many years ago. So we had a great conversation, very knowledgeable guy, very interesting guy. And he told me that the camera that he uses, one of them, which is the Blackmagic 6K Pro, which is the one that I've been looking at, he loves it, blah, blah, blah. So what I talked to my sons about was the actress thing, and then the idea that perhaps instead of buying a camera and a little bit of other equipment, I would use that money plus whatever other money I could scrape together and see if there would be anyone like this gentleman I met with that would be able to bring himself and his gear to the production for a couple weeks and what he would charge to do that. I have not talked to him yet. So it's a very fine line. I don't want to just say, how much would you charge? Because I'm sure it's way more than I could afford. But I don't want to insult him by saying, hey, I've got X thousand dollars, which is going to be not many in the X. X is not going to equal a lot of $1,000, and see if he would have any interest in the project. Because certainly I don't know that he would use it and say, wow, here, I shot this movie and look how great I am. But maybe that would help him. I don't know. So there's that. And then my sons did contact the actress, and this is secondhand through them, of course, but she's apparently excited about the idea. I don't think they've mentioned the lack of remuneration, whatever that word is, at least immediately. So that was good news. I'm hoping to get a table read. By Memorial Day would be amazing. It's not super required, but I think that would be handy. That would be a good thing. It would kind of make it more real to everyone. And then the other thing, which I think I mentioned, the lady that did read the script suggested reducing the page count. It was 107, it may have been 108 on my last pass. And so I've got it just about to, well, it's at 100. I'm trying to get it to 99 just for psychological reasons. I haven't cut any of the story per se. I've cut some dialogue, but mostly I've cut my kind of editorializing, actions, directions, and there's sort of cheating ways that you can reduce the page count without affecting it much. I haven't done like changing the margins or changing the number of lines on a page, but so I don't know that really matters, other than, again, psychologically. I did find some dialogue that probably wasn't necessary, because one of her things, which is the axiom of filmmaking, is show, don't tell. And it's a lot easier to tell in dialogue. And so that's always a crutch. You write really good dialogue and you go, wow, why is, that's so good. Why do I need to show it? I just told everyone. So I'm working on that. She had she didn't really have ideas like do this. It was more like, have you thought about this question? Like, do we want to have a more sense of immediacy? Do we want to make the stakes higher? So my plan is to have the table read and really tell the actors going in that I want to see how small the stakes can be, but have them make them seem personally to them like they're very big stakes. There's no life and death stakes in here. It's mostly financial. But there's more to it than that. And certainly when something is just financial, I mean, that can be exciting, robbing a bank and getting a bunch of money for some worthy cause or whatever. But I'm trying. So that's what I want to do in the table read. I've been checking equipment. I've been looking at new. Then I've really thought, hey, hello, Mr. eBay, and been looking at some cameras with like some lenses and follow focus and stuff. But again, this is going to go back to the question of what do I decide to do in terms of the crew. I've also put out word in a few different places for the crew. I don't have any definites. I have some interest. They're mostly very young, probably late teens, early 20s people who could, if they were taught, I think if we had like a guerrilla film school training, I think they could do a decent job. I also picked this up. The Film TV Director's Field Manual. This was by a gentleman, Rob Spera. He was on the Screenwriter's Life, which is a podcast. They also have a Facebook page, a lot of great information. I have not started reading it yet, but heard good things about it, so I decided to get that. The other thing, this is a little longer than normal, I understand. Please stay with me. Hopefully it will be worthwhile. The other thing I talked to my sons about was kind of like a co-directing thing. Them having had acting experience in class and on film and TV and stuff, they certainly know their craft way better than I do as a non-actor. And so we talked about what that might look like on set in terms of directing actors and sort of blocking scenes while the lighting is coming together and that sort of thing. Or maybe am I purely a producer, keeping track of the day, making sure we're getting everything done, coordinating, blah, 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 and they are directing it. We're going to have further conversations on that, but it was exciting to hear that they were open to that. The last thing is, and again, I don't know when I'm going to put this on YouTube, and I'm sure this video in and of itself is not going to make people open their wallets, but I'm thinking of something like 100 by 100. I haven't decided what to call it yet, but in essence, it would be looking for 100 people to each invest, donate, give, fund, whatever, $100 toward the movie. The idea being that I am putting my money where my mouth is in that, there's sweat equity, which everyone gives, but also maybe if $10,000, I need to check that with my financier. So the idea is to match the amount of money I'm going to put in and get 100 people to put $100 in. And that would not give us any cushion by any means, but would allow to pay for a few things that would now be more of like a volunteer, a donation, or very, very much kind of scraping through. And I have no idea if this is going to work, if this is a good idea, if it's a horrible idea. I do need to check in terms of sort of, I guess, both the legalities and the tax implications if people are donating the money, if they have no expectation of a return, if it's an investment, if, they're going to get points. And I've been running that through my head, and I'm about to crack open a spreadsheet and figure out out of 100%. If we had 100 people at $100 each, which in one way is not much, but in the other way, money is money. So, what would that entitle them to, if not points? What else could I give them that would be meaningful? We also talked, my sons and I, about Kickstarter, Indiegogo, GoFundMe, whatever. I don't have a lot of faith in that because there's so many film projects that get onto those, and we do not, and I don't think, unless I tape like part of the table read and like cut that together, that might be an interesting idea, actually. That might be a very interesting idea because we're not going to be able to put like a sizzler, teaser, anything. I don't think it's not that sort of high concept movie that you could put something together and in, a minute really get people's interest up, which led me to start thinking about, how am I going to cut the trailer? But that is many, many months down the road. So I think that's pretty much it. Long update, but hopefully interesting, mildly interesting. I am going to send the script to a woman who read it a couple months ago, 2 or 3 months ago, and had some good suggestions. I saw her recently and she asked that I send it again, so I'm going to do that. And with that, let's call it a wrap for May 17th. I'll be back again. I hope you're enjoying these, but you can only be doing that if you're watching them. If you're interested in learning more about the project, especially on the funding part of it, reach out to me, leave a comment here, and we'll figure out a way to get in touch. Until next time, cut.